Hey, welcome back. Have you heard about the lawsuit against the LDS Church? Shout out to my subscriber, Kayleen, for sending this article to me in the first place. And since then, I've seen it kind of flowing all over the place on social media. I've also shared it on my Facebook page that I connect to this YouTube account. I had to talk about it because it's really interesting. It's a pretty big deal. So I wanted to jump right in. I have the article open in front of me, the title of which is Scathing Lawsuit Seeks Punitive Damages from Mormon Church. A federal lawsuit sure to get attention in Utah claims that the Mormon corporate empire has driven worshipers to existential crises, suicide, anxiety, and depression by peddling a scheme of lies centered on the religion's creation and its scriptures, a one-time member claims. Laura Gaddy on Monday filed a scathing 75-page class action against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Represented by Salt Lake City attorney Kay Birmingham, Gaddy claims the church, which claimed 16 million members worldwide in 2018, twisted the foundational history of Mormonism in a fraudulent scheme perpetrated for generations. The material facts upon which Mormonism is based have been manipulated through intentional concealment, misrepresentation, distortion, and/or obfuscation by the LDS to contrive an inducement to faith in Mormonism's core beliefs, the complaint states. And it continues, and I'll get into that. But right away, what really caught my eye was that this person is claiming that the foundational history of Mormonism is a fraudulent scheme perpetrated for generations. And this is like a huge deal. And I think, and I know so many ex-Mormons feel this very same way. They're like, I lived and breathed it, and I found out that it was all a lie. And so much was concealed, so much was kept from me, so much was just hidden or very whitewashed or changed. And once you find out the real facts, it's just shocking and it's life-altering. And yeah, I firsthand know Mormons, current Mormons, who have suffered with extreme depression. I know an ex-Mormon who suffered with extreme depression. You're probably watching this right now. Hey, and I'm so glad that so many people have overcome this and that they've moved on with their lives, but it's a real thing. And I wanted to share this on my channel because I felt like it was such a big deal, and this lawsuit really caught my attention. I know a lot of you reacted to it, and a lot of you have DM'd me, and we've been talking about this issue and kind of what your thoughts are, and you're wondering where it's going to go. Well, I'm wondering the same thing. So I want to continue on in the article a little more. It says, the defendant is the corporation of the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which Gaddy describes as a holding company, which owns and or controls several for-profit businesses. The complaint cites official whitewashed teachings of Mormonism claiming to be the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ, in which a divine authority essential to that gospel was taken from earth after Christ's crucifixion and purportedly restored hundreds of years later to church founder Joseph Smith. There she used the term whitewashed. She's talking about the history, and she's like, everything that I once heard and once knew was so whitewashed, and then when I found out the truth and I looked into these issues, they didn't even line up. It was such a totally, completely different story. And I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Think about all the videos that are played with Joseph Smith's martyrdom, or many of the videos, whether it's in the temple or just anywhere, even the videos that the elders or sister missionaries will show in people's homes. They portray this beautiful scene, this beautiful situation, this perfect prophet, this perfect book. You'll see paintings and pictures of, Joseph Smith with the golden plates as he's translating them. And yet, again, all of that now we know is a total lie. And the article gets into that, the translation process, and how the supposed golden plates had nothing whatsoever to do with it. It was all done with the seer stone that he used in his magic money digging days. So I love that this woman is fired up and she's really talking about these hot topics. And so I'm just going to continue with the article. According to Mormon history, an angel guided Smith and buried gold plates near his home in upstate New York in 1823. Smith allegedly collected the plates, which were inscribed in Reformed Egyptian by ancient Americans with Hebraic DNA, and translated them into the church's signature text, the Book of Mormon, which he published in 1830. Mormons migrated to Ohio in 1831 due to persecution for their beliefs, which included polygamy, and Smith was killed by an angry mob while jailed in Missouri in 1844. Mormon settlers arrived in the Great Salt Lake Valley in 1847. Gaddy claims that LDS leaders have recently and partially admitted, albeit in an intentionally limited and ever-changing manner, that Smith did not directly use gold plates to create the Book of Mormon, contradicting Orthodox narrative. Those individuals close to Smith during the period of Book of Mormon creation concede that Smith dictated the Book of Mormon while having his head in a hat, which contained a seer stone, the same type of stone he had previously used to look for buried treasure, the complaint states. Smith spent part of his early career in New York as a hidden treasure hunter and was arrested and tried as a disorderly person in 1926. Fraser's magazine reported in 1873. Gaddy claims that historically accurate accounts successfully challenge bogus LDS church narratives of Smith's first vision of two personages whom he believed to be God the Father and his son Jesus Christ. In 1820, his translation of Egyptian papyri into the Book of Abraham in 1880, and representations of Smith as a monogamist. So she's hitting some really, really hot topics here. We're not only talking about the seer stone and the translation process and how that is that's a big deal and it's a big topic, so much so that it was posted in the Gospel Topics essays on the church's website, which she actually gets into that as well. But here she mentioned that there are so many narratives of the first vision that falls apart, and I have a video on that goes into a lot of great detail if you're curious. And then she also touched on the Egyptian papyri that was translated into the Book of Abraham. And then I have a video on that as well. So if you want like further details and history and background on that, basically it's just a bogus translation. The papyri contains absolutely nothing that's in the Book of Abraham. So, and this is Mormon scripture we're talking about. So I love that she's hitting some really big points here. So, oh yeah, and then she ends it with representations of Smith as a monogamist. You can read in different chapters of the Book of Mormon where verses specifically say that polygamy is not okay. It's an abomination. I'm going to post those for you now so you can read them. So getting back into the article, it says, when the true facts are substituted for the long-standing false Orthodox narrative, the story that emerges has shocked devout Mormons who have made life-altering decisions based upon a scheme of lies, the complaint states. And I have so many of you who we correspond all the time over Facebook Messenger or email, and we've talked through so many of these issues where immediately when you reach out to me, you just say that very thing. You're like, I was shocked. I felt betrayed. I felt so confused. And it's like, we're living a lie that entire time. And it just is so unfair when like she says here, I think it's just so clear. I made life-altering decisions based upon a scheme of lies. Yes, it's everything that you are. It's everything that you do. It affects your every single day and your decisions and what you wear and what you eat and how you spend your time, your job, your family, everything, your finances. It's like such a big deal. So moving on. From 2013 to 2019, the LDS Church published a series of essays via LDS.org, now churchofjesuschrist.org, that addressed controversial aspects of its history and theology, including Smith's first vision accounts, his translations, and Book of Mormon related geography. And I do want to add that there are others beyond that, of course. That's only a couple of the many essays. But even with the first vision accounts, it doesn't list enough detail. It doesn't give all of the information needed. And I'm talking about from straight LDS sources. They're not even all on there. And then with, the translations with the Book of Mormon and then the Kinderhook plates, again, they're very kind of washed over and they're very, 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 very wordy. So you just read forever until you really get to the heart of the issue and you see the admittance of, yes, it was, a 19th century hoax, but this, but that, so many kind of excuses for it. And same with the Book of Mormon papyri. There's a lot of examples in there where they're like, well, it could have been this, or, oh, the lettering was this, when you just need to get to the fact and say the Book of Abraham contains nothing that's on the original papyri. It's an absolutely fraudulent and false translation. And there you go. So, okay, I want to just continue back in here. LDS historian Stephen Snow said a soft launch of that information was intended to inoculate members about the church's controversial history, the complaint states. And it definitely is a very controversial history. LDS leadership, however, did not alert followers to the existence of the essays during annual general conferences, Gaddy says, at which its highest-ranking authorities warned that the internet has no truth filter and that sifting through the internet for information is akin to roaming through garbage. So this is touching on information control. And my last video I did touched on the bite model that cults will use to just control their members, whether it's behavioral or information control or otherwise. And this is absolutely information control. When you're telling your members, do not look for, do not trust, do not read, do not do a Google search on anything. Only read church documents, church approved documents, because we don't want all those other things leading you astray. That is a huge red flag. It's scary, honestly. And the thing is, if you're the one true church, and every single thing that has happened in your history and your scriptures and your prophets and your ongoing revelation and all of it, if it's the one true church and the true restored gospel, you have nothing to fear. You have absolutely nothing to hide. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is there's a lot to hide. So you just got to really start thinking through all this stuff. Like, the information control is a serious thing. In 2015, the LDS Church removed what it claimed to be Smith's seer stone from a vault and allowed it to be photographed. That act was the first in over a century where LDS openly admitted that its founding prophet used a seer stone to create the Book of Mormon, the complaint states. It continues, nevertheless, to this day, neither the actual seer stone nor a photo of it has been referenced or shown in general conference or upon information and belief to those attending weekly services in wards or branches. So for so many of these things, you have to search. And how are you going to search for them if you don't know what you're looking for? So even if the church is posting all of these things on their website, which, by the way, you can find a lot on the church's website. I have typed in so many controversial LDS topics into the search bar of their official website, and I have found a plethora of information that is just quite mind-blowing, honestly. And I've sent those links on to many Mormons who reach out to me, and I just basically tell them, check your own website. Don't listen to me. Here's a link for this topic. Here's a link for this topic. You don't believe what I said in my video, secrets the LDS won't tell you. Well, look up every single one of those points on your website and you find majority of them on there. So it's quite amazing. If you don't know what to search for, how are you going to find it? I love that she mentioned that they're not mentioned in general conferences. They're not mentioned in the weekly services, in the wards and chapels, but really they should be. Everybody needs to be made aware of this so it doesn't come as a shock or a surprise to anyone. So anyway, moving on, almost finished with this article. Gaddy attended an LDS ward in North Carolina in her youth where she sang children's tunes about Smith's golden plates being a record made by the ancient prophet Nephi and the first vision in the sacred grove where Smith claimed to see two personages, God the Father and his Son. She and the proposed class dedicated their spiritual, educational, cultural, and social life to the Mormon corporate empire, which is composed of distinct participation levels, paid general authorities, unpaid local leadership, relevant business entities, and the Mormon educational empire, the complaint states. The LDS Church did not respond to a request for comment. Gaddy seeks punitive damages on 7 counts, including RICO, fraud, breach of fiduciary duties, and emotional distress. If you're wondering what RICO was, I looked it up, and it's the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, commonly referred to as the RICO Act. It's a United States federal law that provides for extended criminal penalties in a civil cause of action for acts performed as part of an ongoing criminal organization. So that's pretty bold right there. And then the article ends with this paragraph. It says, she claims the LDS Church's false narratives and continuing She claims the LDS Church's false narratives and continuing misrepresentations caused immeasurable emotional harm in the form of existential crises, suicides, broken families, insomnia, anxiety, and depression, of which Latter-day Saints and members of the Mormon hierarchy are acutely aware. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments and perspective on all of this. Whether you agree with me or you completely disagree with me, that's fine. Drop a comment below. I would love to get some feedback and to talk with you guys about this subject. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would love for you to subscribe by hitting that red button right down there below. I think I always point to the wrong side when I do that. The red button, I think it's on that side. I don't know, whichever side it is, hit that button because I would love to see you back. I already have a bunch of videos up on my channel with LDS topics, history, current events, doctrine, prophecies, scripture, you name it. I have probably already covered it and I have so much more to come. So I hope that you'll tune in for future videos as well. And for my returning subscribers, I have to say this. I'm about to hit 5,000 if I haven't already. I was like 5 people away when I checked earlier today, which is crazy. I am so thankful and kind of overwhelmed and just like incredibly grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and supporting what I'm doing here. And it just means a lot that you want to tune in and you want to watch my videos. So thank you so much. You guys are amazing. I wish I could just hug you all, air hug, as my little 5-year-old and 3-year-old say all the time. Let's be truth seekers. Let's seek out the truth. No matter what it is, no matter what the cost, truth matters. And that's what my channel is all about. I want to educate, I want to grow and learn together. And I just want all of us to be aware of what it is that we believe and why we believe it. See you next time.